Last summer, when I came home from college for a few weeks, I just wanted to relax and enjoy the break before the next semester. One night, I was out at a bar with a big group of friends. The vibe was great, everyone was drinking, chatting, and having fun. That's when I met this guy named Matt. We ended up next to each other at the bar and bonded over the Cubs game that was playing. While we were talking, my group started to drift away, and soon it was just me and Matt having a conversation. He didn't really talk to any of my friends. We exchanged Instagrams, and I noticed he had a decent number of followers. His page looked like a normal 20-something guy's, pictures of nights out, travel, staying active. After that, I went back to find my group. Honestly, when you bro out with another dude at a bar, the odds of actually talking again are slim. You always say, let's hang out, but the next day you just don't care. Well, the next day, Saturday, I was at a different bar with friends for my buddy Tyler's birthday. This was an outdoor spot by the water. I posted something to my Instagram story of us singing for him at the bar. About an hour later, after we finished dinner and were just hanging out outside, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned around, it was Matt. He smiled, dabbed me up, and said this was his favorite Saturday night spot. I introduced Matt to my friends more officially this time. You guys remember Matt? Even if they didn't talk to him the night before, they definitely saw him. As the night went on, Matt stuck around. No one minded, everyone was drunk and having fun, including him. The next time I saw Matt, he invited me golfing on a hot Sunday morning. I suck at golf, but I want to get better. So when he invited me, I agreed. I tried to get some friends to come, but they were too hungover and said it was too early. So it ended up being just me and Matt. We played 9 holes in about 2 hours, grabbed food afterward, and then I went home to relax before work the next day. I saw Matt one more time after that before he invited me on a hiking trip to Arizona. I've always wanted to see the Grand Canyon. I checked the dates with work and was able to go, so I told him I was in. I asked Tyler and some other friends to come, but they said no, couldn't get time off or needed to save money. Typical. I asked Matt if any of his friends were going, and he said nah, he was going solo. I hadn't met any of his friends at that point, but his Instagram made him seem super popular, so it didn't seem weird. We flew out on August 15th and our return flight to Chicago was August 18th. We landed at night. Matt rented a car, and we stopped for food and drinks before getting to the Airbnb. When we got to the Airbnb, it was late. We had a few beers, and I could tell Matt wanted to stay up longer, but I was tired. That's when I realized there was only one bed. I never asked him about the sleeping arrangements. When I brought it up, he pointed to the couch and said, "It's a pull-out." Then he said, "Relax, I'm not gonna charge you for the Airbnb. Free stay in Arizona? Fine by me." I pulled out the sofa bed, made it up, and went to sleep. It was surprisingly comfortable. In the middle of the night, I woke up to Matt walking through the living room to get water. I'm a light sleeper, even a pin drop wakes me. I rolled over and fell back asleep. Next morning, Matt woke me up early. It was a beautiful sunny day. We drove straight to the Grand Canyon. I had no idea how huge it was or how many trails there were. We hiked the Bright Angel Trail. I didn't realize how out of shape I was until that day. Matt was totally fine, laughing and telling me to keep up while I was sweating bullets and out of breath. We took tons of breaks and a million pictures, it was gorgeous. After a few hours, we got back to the car, stopped at a deli for food, and made the long drive back to Phoenix. Once we got back, we napped midday. Then we explored the city. And of course, being Matt, we bar hopped. We got really drunk, but I think I was even more drunk than he was, no idea how, since he drank just as much. We ended up leaving the rental car on the street and Ubering to the Airbnb. It was super late. The last thing I remember is him blasting music and me plugging in my phone next to the couch before I knocked out. That night, I woke up randomly, probably just a few hours after falling asleep. My mouth was dry, and I had to pee badly. As I got up from the couch and walked toward the bathroom, I heard a sound, a subtle crack in the floor, like someone stepping. I scanned the dark room but saw nothing, so I went to the bathroom. While I was peeing, I heard a door close. It had to be Matt's bedroom door. After finishing, I tried his door, but it was locked. I knocked, but no answer. Whatever, I went back to the couch and fell asleep pretty quickly. Next morning, I woke up around 8 a.m. with a splitting headache. The first thing I noticed was that my phone was in a different position. I had left it charging on the floor next to the couch bed, but now it was on the side table and unplugged. I figured maybe I moved it while drunk, didn't think too much of it. We didn't hike that day. I would have puked. We Ubered back to the car and spent the day exploring Phoenix and the botanical gardens. I didn't really want to drink again, but Matt convinced me. So, once again, we got really drunk. Our flight was around 1 p.m. the next day, so at least we didn't have to get up super early. We got back to the Airbnb sometime between 1 and 2 a.m. This time, Matt offered to let me sleep in the bed since it was only fair. I didn't argue. I grabbed my bag and went into the bedroom, said goodnight, and shut the door. I didn't lock it, not that it mattered. The locks were the cheap kind you can open with a coin or butter knife. I wish I could say that was the end of the story. But it wasn't. I woke up again that night, unsure why. You know when you wake up from a noise, but don't really remember hearing the noise because you were still half asleep? That's how it was. I looked around, and my phone was missing. I had left it charging on the side of the bed, but the cord was just dangling, no phone attached. How could this happen again? I looked under the bed on both sides, confused. And then I screamed. Matt was lying face down on the floor beside the bed, completely sprawled out. He looked up slowly, like he'd just woken up from a deep sleep. I yelled, "What are you doing?" He looked around the room, dazed, and said he must have been so blacked out that he came in thinking the bed was his, remembered I was in it, and passed out on the floor instead. That made no sense. He was on the far side of the bed, the side away from the door. Then I accused him of taking my phone. He played dumb. Told me to check under the bed. Then, he got on his knees, looked under, and immediately said, "Bro, here it is," as he pulled my phone out. I looked at him, and something had shifted. I felt like I was staring at a completely different person. Who was this guy? I told him I'd go back to the couch, but he insisted he would. He walked out, and this time, I locked the door behind him. Yeah, it was a cheap lock, but I wasn't taking any chances. Without the phone thing, maybe I'd think he was just drunk and being weird. But this felt off. He definitely took my phone. I knew it. Still a bit drunk, I managed to fall back asleep. But not for long. I woke up again that night, and this time, I knew exactly what woke me up. At the foot of the bed stood Matt. Just a silhouette in the dark. But unmistakably him. For some reason, I didn't scream right away. I was frozen. He sat down on the bed and started rubbing my foot. That's when I screamed and yelled for him to get out. He didn't move. I had to physically push him off the bed and out the door. Then I packed my bag, clothes, toiletries, everything. He didn't say a word. He just sat on the couch, upright, watching me like some creepy NPC. That was honestly the most disturbing part. I called an Uber to the airport. I was done. I got there just before sunrise. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't sleep at the airport. My brain wouldn't shut off. I paid $35 to change my seat so I wouldn't have to sit next to Matt on the flight. I kept my eyes out the window while the plane boarded, just so I wouldn't make eye contact with him. I didn't tell my friends until later that day. I needed time to process everything. Some of them said, "Dude, I told you he was weird." They reminded me that both times we ran into him at bars, he was alone. Then it hit me, the only reason he probably showed up at Tyler's birthday was because he saw my Instagram story and followed me there. Stalker behavior. I blocked him everywhere, number, Instagram. But before I did, I went back to an old post of his with some friends. None of them were tagged, but I looked at the comments. One comment stood out. It was from a guy who looked like he was in the photo. I'd met him and asked if he was still friends with Matt. He replied in 10 minutes. Nah, guy's a freak. Run away. He told me he had his own experience with Matt, and other guys did too. They all cut him off. He even untagged himself from the photo but said he couldn't make Matt take it down. When I told him what happened in Arizona, he wasn't even surprised. His reply: guy should be in jail. It's wild that I thought Matt was just a chill guy looking for a bro. But he ended up being something way darker, a predator. And to this day, I still wonder,